Hello, Jessica Amir here for the Finance News Network with Environmental Clean Technologies Chairman Glenn Fozzard. Glenn, welcome to the network.
Thanks, Jessica.
So for new investors, just give us a quick introduction.
Environmental Clean Technology commercialises innovative technologies for the low rank and low grade resource space. What we particularly do is derive value from environmental value and economic value. That's focusing on low rank and low grade resources like lignite, which is brown coal, and iron ore fines, for example. To date, our company has been pre-revenue. Necessarily that's been because we're focusing on the development of these technologies and the patent protection of those technologies. As it stands today, we're market ready and we're about a 90 mil market cap. A few years back, we identified a gap in the market, a services gap, and that's allowed us to recognise that there's companies out there now, resource companies, that are willing to adopt technologies that are low emission and emission-free technologies to apply to their current conventional resource program. So our stated purpose at ECT is to bridge the gap between today's use of resources and tomorrow's emission-free future.
Now to your technology in a little bit more detail. Just tell us about CoalDry.
It's essentially a low-rank coal dewatering process. It uses low temperature to dewater the coal using waste heat. So it's quite a cost-effective method of dewatering coal. And what it creates is a high-energy solid fuel pellet, not too dissimilar to something like that. Additionally, part of the unique characteristics of CoalDry is that it doesn't produce any direct CO2 emissions. So it has the features of being both economically compelling and environmentally friendly. We say at ECT that it is the world's most efficient means of dewatering brown coal. Now, even though we say it, what is important is that no one else has proven otherwise. So we not only have the most efficient method, but given that there's no CO2 emissions, we have quite a compelling technology that is well aligned to the broader trend of global environmental trend. And so our other technology is MapMore. Essentially, MapMore is a hydrogen-based primary ion production process. Its features are that it uses cheaper feedstocks as well as lower temperature and residence time inside the retort. MapMore is coupled really well with CoalDry. So a MapMore plant will be built alongside a CoalDry plant, and CoalDry will act as the feedstock preparation where it combines lignite with the iron ore, and then MapMore will pass through the MapMore retort. The fact that it uses low temperature and low residence time, and that has a direct relationship to low emissions. Through that process, we end up producing what we call primary iron from MapMore, and this is in fact a MapMore piece of primary iron.
Thanks, Glenn. And you're in the final stages of designing your pilot plant. How's it going?
It's going well. We're almost completed the full design package. From there, we'll also be developing in parallel additional points of the project execution plan, things like pre-tendering for EPC and OEM providers. That's with the intent of eliminating as many obstacles so we can reach construction as soon as possible. One thing that's really important to understand in this agreement that we're signing, the Master Project Agreement, is that it's the largest ever R&D collaboration between Australian and Indian companies.
So why India, and who are your business partners there?
Yeah, India was a logical choice for us. They had vast lignite reserves owned by NLC. They also have increasing supply of waste iron ore in slimes and fines, as they call it. Our Indian partners, NLC India and NMDC, they have a combined market cap of almost $10 billion. And NLC is the custodian of most of India's vast lignite reserves, and NMDC is India's largest iron ore miner. To us, they're the perfect partners. They represent a significant balance sheet that can support us in our drive towards commercial rollout globally. Importantly, they also have the will to expand, and additionally, and I think the most important thing is that through the MPA that we've drafted now, they also have the economic incentive in the royalty share that we've agreed to.
Now to finances, just give us a quick snapshot and include a summary of what's going on with licences and also revenue.
Building our revenue model on 4 pillars. The first pillar is product sales, and that's based on the earn whilst you learn principle, whereby we find markets for the products that we produce as we continuously improve and undertake R&D. The second pillar is royalties and license fees, and that's a logical extension of the actual projects that we roll out commercially. The third layer is the project management fees. That's a bit shorter lead time. That allows us to earn revenue from supporting the project execution through to completion. And finally is the longer term one, which is the asset ownership.
And lastly, Glenn, why should investors be adding ESI to their portfolio?
I think ECT provides good exposure to resource technology. It's at a pretty interesting time for investors. We're going from pre-revenue into revenue growth, supported by patented technologies. And those patented technologies are, both economically compelling and environmentally friendly. Additionally, a unique characteristic, I think, of the exposure is the exposure to the India growth story. And it's something that I think will rival the China growth story in the next couple of years.
Glenn Fozzard, thank you so much for the update.
Thank you, Jessica.